Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to this week's installment of the Gamestate podcast. We are back. This week, we are missing one of our co-hosts. Tuneablepower could not be present this week, but we will see him back again next week. This is actually the first one he's ever missed, so good on him. We've got our normal co-host, Made and Grease Monkey Gamer with us. Not a whole lot to talk about this week. Some interesting news, some little things happening. I believe as we get more into the holiday season, there's going to be a lot more to talk about. But we're going to get you guys started off. This week we got some Sonic news. We've got some more news from PlayStation. It's pretty interesting. We had a we had a campfire chat for Diablo that we're going to talk about. This week we're going to do horror games for your play it or throw it away. We're going to be doing that pretty much all month. We're going to stick with horror games for the month of October, really get into spooky season, and then we'll have your game deals of the week. And we're going to start you off with this day in gaming, guys. So this day in gaming, 1997, Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2 was released on the PC. Also in 1997 is when Dead or Alive, the limited edition, was released on the Sega Saturn. Dead or Alive was a really good game. I loved that game back in the day.
Good fighter.
Yeah. It was a really good fighter. I loved pretty much every iteration of it.
Yeah, even some of their more recent Dead or Alives are really good.
Oh yeah. I love the counter option, because before that was the first fighter that really had a button dedicated to counters.
Yep. Yeah, in most fighting games nowadays, your counter is usually has to come in your moveset. Like it'll be like an actual like input that you have to do that does a counter. Whereas back in the day, there was just the one button and every character had it.
Yep. You had a high, medium, and low for it.
Also we had another one in 1997. Fallout was released on PC. The original Fallout, the top-down one.
Yeah, I enjoyed those games a lot, actually.
Yeah, the top-down Fallouts were good. They weren't bad at all.
They were.
So moving on to 1998, this is when 1080 snowboarding was released on the N64 in Ireland and the UK. Up until then, it was only a US release.
1080 snowboarding is just, again, classic extreme sports rendition of taking it to the snow, going and doing massive melons and 720 backflip, fucking rodeos, like crazy stuff, man. They're great games.
Like Grease said last week, like the mid to late 90s, just great for extreme sports games. So many, like even like the off the wall ones, like Snowboard Kids, SSX Tricky, like really good extreme sports games came out in mid to late 90s. Also in 1998, we had Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six get released on the PC. Was Rainbow Six the first Tom Clancy game?
I don't think so. I think that they had other titles before that one that were like SWAT based, less of like a military sim, more of like a police style simulator. I remember me and my dad used to play a couple of them before that came out.
There was only one. Go ahead.
I was just gonna. Yeah, I want to say there were a couple other Tom Clancy games, but Rainbow Six is what really kind of brought it into the mainstream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played,
that's really fantastic.
I played one of the Tom Clancy games. I think it was on PS2 or PS3, but it had a survival mode. You could do it like multiplayer with your friends, and there was like it was almost like zombies is in Call of Duty. There was like a certain chest where you'd go to buy your upgrades in between rounds, and buy grenades, upgrade, get a different gun. And there was a whole map, and you'd have hordes of enemies come at you, and it was just, your classic survival mode. Me and my buddy used to play it a lot. But other than that, I don't have much experience with the Tom Clancy series, so I'm not sure. All right.
Didn't play them. Didn't play SOCOM.
Nah, I mean, I played SOCOM one time and was like, nah, this ain't me. Moving on, in 2002, Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos was released on PC. Another game I never played, but I know Warcraft is it's kind of a big deal. A lot of people love Warcraft.
I loved that game. I absolutely adored Warcraft 3 when it came out. I spent like almost as much time playing that as I probably played StarCraft. Again, oh man, great games. I love them. I love RTS style games. They're fun.
anything that says Warcraft, I just think of World of Warcraft, and I know that's not the same thing.
No, I mean World of Warcraft was based off of Warcraft 3's lore, I want to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was, again, like Command and Conquer style, build up your base, smash the other people, get resources. Actually, I would say I would probably compare it more to like Ages of Empire, if anything.
Okay, so then I would actually probably like it, because I like those real-time strategy games like that.
They're fun.
All right, that's all I got for 2002. Moving on, 9 years later, 2011, we had Minecraft, the Pocket Edition, come out for Android. So Minecraft went from being this big PC game. I'm not. Was it on consoles at that point? I'm not sure. It may have been.
I think it would have been on the 360 and the PS3 at that time. And I do know that with the mobile release and it coming out on like the iPhone and such, though, I think that it ended up getting in the hands of a lot of a younger generation, and that's how we ended up getting people like Dream and stuff like that.
Yep. Yeah, it came out on, handheld. You played on your phone back then, 2011. That's crazy. 2012. I love this game. I have a funny story about this game, but I can't tell it. Worms Revolution was released on the PS3.
Oh my god.
Those Worms games are fun, let's be honest.
Oh, I love the Worms games. I still have WMD, Worms of Destruction.
Yeah.
Worms
oh my
Destruction.
god.
I have Worms Armageddon on my computer right now.
That was the one I was going to say I fall back on. When I think of Worms, I either remember the like really early titles that were out on like the N64 or Worms Armageddon, because that one was peak Worms. Great games, honestly. Don't get enough love.
Yeah, they're so
I feel
good.
like WMD was really good though. Honestly,
Is that the first person one?
No. WMD it's still like Armageddon. It's just it came out after Armageddon though.
Okay, I don't remember that one.
But it's let me check my library. I still have it download. I have it installed.
Fun stuff.
Shoot, where it was released in 2016.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember Worms Revolution. I definitely remember Armageddon. I have it on my computer right now. Love that game. When I was in college, I had Worms Armageddon on my laptop, and that's all I did. I'd sit in my dorm room and just play Worms Armageddon. Also in 2012, Fable: The Journey was released on the 360.
Oh, Fable!
Gotta love Fable. Those games.
It was the initial Fable.
Good times.
Well, Fable: The Journey. I don't think that was the initial one.
I don't remember this title, honestly.
Fable.
It's Fable, so I have to assume it was fun anyway.
It was a Fable game, so I'm assuming it was good.
We'll go with that.
If anybody's watching this and you know what that game is and it sucks, let us know down in the comments. We'll do a full apology next week.
Or we'll double over on it and say, no, you're wrong.
You're wrong. That game's amazing. All right, last
Apparently
one.
It was the fifth in the series. I never played that one.
No, me neither. All right, in 2017, this is the last one for On This Day in Gaming. There wasn't a whole lot after 2017. Like, I couldn't find much. 2017, Middle-earth: Shadow of War was released on Steam. Great game.
Man,
Ooh.
Amazing game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, one of the earlier like transitions of bringing AI into a game and learning from its mistakes and having it level up against you and stuff. Man, that was
getting smarter and learning your tactics, and such a good game.
Awesome game.
If you were a Lord of the Rings fan, even a little bit, and you didn't play this game, you definitely need to go play.
You were a Dark Souls fan, an Assassin's Creed fan, if you were basically a fan of RPGs and open world, and having those like cool like flash abilities to like insta kill and stuff, man, that game was fantastic. I hope they come out with another one.
Even the sequels, Shadow of War 2 was
Shadow of Mordor.
Shadow of Mordor, I think it was. Yeah.
Mordor, yeah.
Those was great games. Great games. Put a lot of time into those. Those are so much fun. But yeah, that's it for this day in gaming. Some good titles in there.
Definitely.
But we
October's always going to be a good month for titles, though.
I have a feeling the on this day in gaming is going to get kind of crazy here going into the holiday season, guys. So expect some big titles to be popping up. I think was it last
season? Yeah,
I think it was maybe a week or so ago. We had N64, Mario 64 was released. That was crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
But going into some news that we got this week, we got some Sonic Superstars news. This game's coming out later this year. It was announced that it's going to have online multiplayer crossplay, and that I guess that's just for its online PvP.
It's looking like it's going to be just the online PvP for now. There might be the possibility of online crossplay co-op, but with the PvP battle mode, you can have up to 8 different players going on at the same time.
Oh, that's great.
I think it's pretty cool that they're adding the cross-platform ability.
Yeah, I mean it's 2023. Every game should be crossplay at this point. Let's be honest.
At this point, it really should.
There's no excuse.
I think the thing that confuses me about that is like Sonic Superstars is still like a Mario model 2D side-scrolling game, isn't it? How is PvP even a thing?
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that's going to work too. And up to 8 players.
Like what? Yeah.
Yeah, I am confused as to
how. My question is, how is it going to run online 8-player multiplayer on the Switch?
Apparently, they say it's going to be 60 FPS even on the Switch too, as well.
Yeah, 640p.
That'll be an interesting release. I mean, even if the online PvP is bad, Sonic games always do well regardless.
Yeah,
it looks like a great game. Like honestly, I'm not even going to pay too much attention to the fact that it has a PvP mode because again, I expect the overall game and the story and the gameplay loop for what it's bringing as a part of its main structure to well surpass any other expectations for an online mode. Anyway, it's going to be fun.
Just the
Tunable would be here like over the moon about it right now. If he would
just having the couch co-op to go through like the main game is amazing, and if they bring that into an online atmosphere where you can go online and do co-op with a buddy, and that's also crossplay, that changes everything. That's going to take the game from like a 7.5 to like a 9 for me.
Yeah. Though the fact that they have 4-player local co-op, the fact that you can have 4 people
on a Sonic
playing together on a Sonic game,
Sonic game.
Wow,
that's crazy. And from the looks of it, like certain characters are needed to get to certain areas of the map for certain secrets and stuff like that.
Yeah, there is that thing. Now with what I was thinking on the whole battle mode in Sonic 2 and Sonic 3, they did have a versus mode. I'm not sure you guys ever had a chance to play those, but basically what the versus modes were is you had these maps that would loop through, and you were essentially racing each other through the maps.
You're talking about. I remember playing that against like my buddies on like the mine cart, like the mine level and shit like that.
Yeah, so I'm thinking
it was almost like when you were like racing on like Mario Kart on the SNES, how there was a top screen and the bottom screen.
And the bottom screen,
and and you both had your. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. That was the peak. I wonder if that's what the 8-player.
I'm thinking that might be what the battle mode is that you probably have 2 teams. If you have 4 people playing together,
that would be cool actually. And you're racing.
I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
team racing. Yeah,
man, that would be sick. That'd be something we could do for like the podcast, like us 4 just doing a let's play or racing other people.
Oh, dude, that'd be so fun.
I can only imagine what the connection will be like. Hopefully it does run at 60 FPS.
Well, for a Sonic game, I definitely don't want to be playing it at 30 because man's got to go fast.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I would actually enjoy that. I think 4 versus 4 racing, like how the PvP was back in the day, that would be dope. When we first initially said PvP, I was thinking like Smash Bros, like battling.
I'm looking at it right now. I just watched the trailer while we were talking. It actually does look like it's a Smash Bros style thing.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. Weird. Oh, that's really weird.
I guess we'll just have to. I mean, at that point, you could probably have it as a 8-person free for all. But honestly, now that we've talked about
I
like
the
the
race
team
idea.
like racing, I like that idea.
Guys, you need to start pitching for Sega, man. They're drawing on ideas anyway, man. They could probably use you.
That's actually a great idea. I think that would work great. I think people would like that. I would play it.
I think they would like it. It would bring back a feature that was in one of the beloved older games.
Yeah, and be
Kinda
able
bring
to
it
do
back to
like
the forefront.
4v4. That just adds to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So Sonic Superstars got a lot of potential. I imagine the game's going to be fun just to play solo by yourself.
Yeah.
But if
you got friends that want to play it together, I mean, like you've got multiple options now. It doesn't necessarily got to be one thing. You do have others, but
the co-op's going to be fun. Be better if it has online compatibility with the co-op. And we'll see what happens with the PvP mode. Hopefully they add, other than like the Smash Brothers style, hopefully we get the racing too. That would be amazing. Definitely would be buying that game if they.
That would be amazing.
But yeah, 60 frames per second. It's going to be interesting to see if they can hold up to that, especially online. But we'll see.
And the Switch.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe on the OLED. Maybe I don't know about the original. Like the OLED, you can wire right in through Ethernet.
Well, I mean, considering the minimum PC specs, because they've listed the PC specs for Sonic Superstars as well. The minimum specs is a 64-bit processor, 6 gigs of RAM. The graphics card is basically a GeForce GTS 450, like 1 gig dedicated graphics card.
So pretty minimal.
Yeah, it's pretty minimal. Like 720p low at 60 frames per second. That's the low end. The recommended, you're looking at like a NVIDIA GTX 560, 1 gigabyte.
Still low end.
1080p. It's still pretty low end. It's fairly, modest. And
you can get a 560 really cheap these days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like less than $60.
Yeah. No excuses. No excuses.
Your grandma probably got a laptop from Walmart that could run this game at this point. Like
my phone's got a better GPU.
Yeah. Honestly.
But moving on, guys, last week we talked about PlayStation and how they got hacked and the whole network was down again. Well, some more news has come out. We got more PlayStation hacking news for you. They revealed this week that back in July, 6,800 of their employees' personal information was leaked. And they recently just put out notifications and emails to all these people to let them know that some of their personal info may have been leaked. Like, what do you do in that situation if you're one of those employees? Like, that happened in July. If anyone had your information, that was in July.
Yeah. It's pretty rough, man. Sony's moving the goalposts closer and closer to the wrong side of the game. They're like, here, hackers, come on in, guys. Like, it's ridiculous, man. How many times do you get smashed before you like, oh,
I think this
we might need to find a new solution for this problem because it happens a lot, guys.
Yeah, it's a reoccurring thing. They're like, I'd say maybe once or twice a year we're hearing about Sony, something happening where like their system was compromised or they're shutting down the network for maintenance because this happened.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, we've been down for a whole month. Here's a game. I hope that, doesn't make you too happy for all the time we've not let you play online or all the time you've had to deal with, knowing your security of your credit card information has not been, secure. God, man.
There's also something else I read about a little bit ago. Apparently for like the premium membership and the, stuff like that, there's talks of them adding their own premium movie service, which is weird when you already got like people have Netflix and stuff like that on your console already. You're giving your premium PSN members a movie service. Like, why?
Wrong direction.
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah.
work on competition for Game Pass, not Netflix.
Yeah.
You're
like,
forgetting who your market is.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone who has a PS5 or a PS4, I guarantee you they've got Hulu, they've got Netflix, they've got, Crunchyroll, something on there that they watch movies or TV or whatever on through a streaming service.
Yeah.
I don't think you really need to throw your own PSN premium. And I'm pretty sure it's not for your base PSN account. Like you have to have the premium or the deluxe.
Yeah, it's an incentive on top of it, of course.
Yeah.
So it's just another way to get people to pay the higher membership, I guess. But like, if that's your reason for getting deluxe or premium, like, what, you don't have Netflix, you don't have Hulu, like, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah.
And plus, they're gonna get hacked again. You're gonna lose your Netflix account anyway. So
Again, it makes me shake my head because I'm like, you have this competitive system, but the market for the gaming background of it is always in this weird state of, oh yeah, we're working on our online system. We want to be able to provide you a better gaming library so that you have all these things. So we give you PlayStation Plus, and then they're like, no, we're done with PlayStation Plus. Here's PlayStation Now. Nope, we're done with PlayStation Now. But we still have no idea what we want to do to compete against Game Pass. Meanwhile, Game Pass is like, here's a game, here's a game, here's a new game, here's a game, here's some backlog games.
Oh, day one release, here's that.
It's like, all right.
And you wonder why Game Pass subscriptions are through the roof compared to like PSN memberships.
Yeah.
And
if they did do it and then put it on PC, value. I mean, like, I don't understand.
and like the way they market their console is they market it as a home entertainment system. Unlike Nintendo, who solely markets their consoles as, a gaming system. So I understand maybe putting movies and stuff, but why are you trying to compete with Netflix and Hulu and that whenever clearly Game Pass is your biggest competition at the moment?
Like, what are you trying to be? What are you trying to be? If you want to be an entertainment system, then don't call yourself a PlayStation.
They're spreading themselves way too thin to actually compete against anything.
People have TVs that offer all of what you're already doing.
Yeah.
I can go to Walmart and get myself a cheap $200 TV.
Yeah, you can get like a 27-inch Roku for like
exactly what I'm saying, without name dropping the company, but that's exactly what I mean.
$100, and it's already got Netflix and Hulu and Paramount and HBO Max already installed on it. You don't even have to download it.
It's got an app store. You can go in and download stuff. Like,
yeah. But they're just spreading themselves too thin. They don't have their, they're not really focused on one thing or the other. They're all over the place. That and they're getting like, when's the last time you heard about like Microsoft getting hacked? Or Nintendo getting
not on this level.
Yeah, why is Sony getting hacked all the time? Like, what are they doing?
Well, I think it's because Sony has its hands in other stuff way more than the other two. So the whole gaming area kind of takes a back seat to what they want to do otherwise.
Yeah, that makes sense. Still,
but also say it's because Nintendo plays no games when it comes to anything of that background, man. You get touched once and they fucking come back with a ruler 25 yards long and slap your ass like it's a nun back in school, man. Mm-hmm. They do not mess around.
They don't. Nintendo is very strict with their IPs, with their consoles, with everything.
And they've got like private investigators that are constantly doing research on people that even fathom the idea of starting something of that background. They're like, oh, you got like a post on Reddit? You think we didn't see that 5 months ago? Yeah. And then they like bring you to court and sue you out the ass.
Yep. I mean, they had to deal with.
I mean, they've went after big YouTubers like Point Crow and that who just makes Breath of the Wild content. They took down like 27 of his videos, and
they don't mess around.
And a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's because he was modding the game." No, he wasn't. Not in like most of them. he did mod the game in a couple of them, but that's fair use.
Yeah.
But technically,
Nintendo's just
if you go by the EULA, the EULA, you're technically not allowed to broadcast or produce any content of these games in any way, strictly by the EULA. So, like, technically, Nintendo has every right to take its content down. It's just, it's more of an attack, it feels like, because, you know, look at how many people are putting out Breath of the Wild videos, stuff like that. Like, Nintendo will just, if they want you down, you're down.
And I think with
True.
Microsoft, because Microsoft and again, like Windows as a whole have been doing this for so long, I think that they come to see these attacks, I guess maybe ahead of schedule. They've already got a better system for security in place.
Yeah.
They've got more money to be able to, you know, go against these people, or maybe like, again, maybe not broadcast their problems and just kind of pay off who needs to be paid off hush money.
Could be.
But
Yeah.
Sony, man, Sony just eats the bullet every single time.
Yeah. And it's
Well-
not even a quiet bullet. Like, the whole PSN network just goes down.
Yeah. Well, I would probably say the other thing is that with Microsoft was originally a software company.
Yeah.
It was originally a software company. So they're already into dealing with hackers and securities and everything else. And so their whole system is based off of what they've already built upon anyway. So anytime that they see any sort of vulnerabilities in an OS, they've already dealt with it with their mainstream Windows, and then they just
Yeah.
port it over to
They're constantly
the
nipping
Xbox.
it in the bud. Like,
Yeah.
They're just ahead of it.
They must
They're ahead of
pay
the
Norton
game, and-
antivirus.
Yeah, or McAfee.
I feel like Sony has kind of taken a bargain, basically taken a bargain basement securities.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh yeah, it's an afterthought.
It's
And
almost
it's
like they,
clearly
you know,
showing.
they throw out their software and they just assume that nobody's going to take advantage of it, and then it happens.
It's bad for them, like in the long run of this, because again, like, yeah, it's negative publicity, and yeah, you know, like you've got like the accounts and the employees' information being, you know, hostage against them. But in the long term of these things, like if they're able to get that information, who's to say that somebody's not going to stop by getting the PS5 source code and then building a new
Yeah.
emulator? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's the next step, and that's
Could
where
very
things go
easily happen.
real far downhill real quick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's very possible that could be something we see in the next couple of years.
Or the fact that they keep getting into
Maybe
the
even
systems,
sooner.
they might even touch upon getting the source code for the next gen system.
Yeah.
Like if
probably
they can get
possible.
in, it kind of makes you question the securities of any future systems if hackers are already getting in and just ransoming your whole PSN network. It's like, yeah, we can get in anytime we want, and anything that you've been planning on for your future consoles, we're already in there.
Yep.
We can start
Yeah.
adding in backdoors while you guys are developing it, and we can just hide it in.
And if there's one company that's known for leaks, it's definitely Sony. Sony,
sure.
everything Sony does gets leaked ahead of time.
PlayStation
Pretty
5
much.
Slim coming next year.
Yeah. Yeah. Sony needs to get it together. It's crazy. But we're gonna move on. Guys, this week we're gonna do our play it or throw it away. And all this month, we're gonna keep it Halloweeny for you, spooky season. We're gonna do horror games. And maybe not necessarily horror games, anything that has horror or, you know, is
The
Oh.
creepy.
creepy, you know, gory, I guess.
Thriller.
Thriller.
whatever.
Yeah. We're going to keep it, you know, along those lines. So all this month we will be doing, you know, creepy play it or throw it aways. So this week, no specific console, just horror games.
Free for all, baby.
Yeah. What do we got? What do we start with? Let's get it rolling.
Just ran the wheel. Our first game of the day is Until Dawn.
Until Dawn.
Until Dawn.
I don't think I've played.
It's
I-
you know what I can't remember who the developer is.
This is gonna be
Potentially Remedy.
This is gonna be a rough month for me because I'm not very big on horror games. I'm kind of a pussy.
It's
I'm not a huge
in the
horror.
lines of like kind of like a Telltale style game, but it's from like a horror anthology kind of thing.
Yeah.
They made the other couple of titles afterwards, but it's came out on the PlayStation 4 and then it was ported onto PC and PS5. They've had a couple of sequels come out afterwards, but you go through and you have like a selection of characters. You start off this like story, you go to like a cabin out in the woods, and you control certain characters, certain chapters. You'll be controlling them and their actions, and you get the QTE events where you have to like avoid a thing, and then it will butterfly effect into like a cause and effect.
Yeah.
So if you have
Okay.
like again, you get like a character killed, then that will have a grand difference into the end game of it because that character was like the key component of the story. So then you get a whole other ending, whether it be the good, the bad, or the
Okay,
like
that's interesting.
in between.
See, I like
I had
games
a
like
really
that
good time
where
playing it.
I like games like that where your decisions affect how the game progresses. So I think
Yeah,
I think I would play it. I would give it a chance, just and it sounds like it has replayability based on that fact. So like you could go through and maybe your second playthrough you don't get Jonathan killed. Well, I don't know if there's anyone named Jonathan, but but I think I would play it just based on that fact, just the fact that there is different endings and like your decisions actually have consequences.
The other titles that came out after this one, for just awareness, there was The Quarry, there was House of Glass, and there was
The Quarry sounds familiar.
Corey does sound familiar.
Man of Medan, or Medan. I don't know how they say it, but anyway, bunch of different titles. So if you enjoyed Until Dawn, or if you like that style of games, again, if you're a fan of horror games, you could definitely get into this one pretty easily. I did play this one when it came. My friend invited, I think, like 7 or 8 people over for like a horror movie night, and he's like, we're not watching a horror movie, we're playing this game. Fuck you guys, I just invited you over so you could play it. And I was like super into it. I was like, yeah. People were like missing their QTEs because they were like new players and they don't play games at all. And I was like, no, why did you get that fucking person killed? Flipping my shit. Great game.
Yeah, I'd give it a shot.
I would give it a shot. As somebody who, now my wife loves playing Detroit Become Human, and so Detroit Become Human is very, very similar, where it's got QTE events and you have decisions of like how you have your conversations, and each decision you do will have an effect on your outcome. So the fact that they give you playability and there are consequences to, if you screw up, your characters will die.
I would say it's the horror version of Become Detroit.
Detroit Become Human, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I would say it's the horror version of that game. I've watched the playthrough. They're like identical in the way that they play. Super cool.
Yeah.
I've never played Detroit Become Human either, but if it's something like that, then I think I would.
Oh, it's got a good storyline. It's
Yeah.
got a good storyline. Detroit Become Human.
A lot of games.
AI, baby.
Just trying it.
A lot of games I'm gonna have to try. Jeez.
All right. And on to the next one.
Yep.
Beautiful. All right. Friday the 13th NES edition.
All right, guys. Friday the 13th as a series, as a movie series. I love the Friday the 13th movies with, Jason X being the stinker of them all. But when it comes to the NES, I'm sorry, Friday the 13th just does not hit. It's pretty bad. If you guys want to check it out, be my guest. But probably for an NES game, it's kind of hard to make an NES game scary. So,
but you have a limited color palette.
Yeah, it was the first time they tried to take a horror movie and do something like that in a video game. So you got to give them a little bit of props there, but it failed miserably. The game was just bad. I throw it away.
Yeah. Considering, again, it is the NES, I will give them a little bit of leverage to say, again, yeah, I think that trying to come up with a game of that movie's caliber on the NES without having an expansive amount of graphics to show gore and give life.
Valiant effort.
Good try, guys.
Valiant effort.
But any game that's basically set in daylight hours has like neon pinks and neon blues and everything else that's going on, really taken away from the idea that you're running away from like a 7-foot monster that just crawled out the water.
Immersion? What's immersion?
Yeah. This game's getting thrown back in the lake with Jason.
And the thing is that I'm just looking at a couple of game screens for it. You're literally, it's not even like you're jumping or anything else. It's almost like an off-brand RPG where you have like 4 different actions that you can do. So it's very limited. I'm going to be throwing it away as well. I mean, valiant effort, but NES, sorry.
If you're having a bad day and you want to get a few chuckles, throw it in your NES. It'll make you laugh, and then your day
be done.
Yeah. You can go to bed happy that night knowing you'll never put that back in the console.
And the fact that Jason's mask is turquoise instead of the actual white, too.
Exactly. He's not wearing a hockey mask. He's wearing the one he got from the My Little Ponies. Oh, God.
Ah, jeez. What a game.
Next on the docket. And this one's going to be a bit of a spicy topic for us. Dead by Daylight.
Hot topic right here.
I am notorious for not liking this game. I know it's a popular game and a lot of people love it. It does really well on Twitch. People are constantly streaming that game. But man, I just don't get it. I don't even care what characters they release. Yeah, sure, they put some cool ones in there. But like, I mean, Nemesis came to the game and that still couldn't get me into it. But it's the same thing. Game after game after game, it's the same loop. And yeah, I play games that are similar, like there are games where it's the same loop, but I don't know, it's just a different style of game that I just can't get into. It's just it doesn't matter if I'm the killer or the survivors. Running around, you do your generators, you try to escape, most of you usually die. It's the same loop, and I've tried to play it time and time again, and people were like, "Oh, you should play Dead by Daylight." And no thanks. I tried. I gave it a valiant effort. It's just not for me. Throwing it away. I'm gonna get hate in the comments for that.
Personally, for myself, I played it a few times. It doesn't fit my jam. It's just I'm gonna be throwing it away. I could see where some people would have fun with it, but the fact that you have to be online, you have to I mean, the only way that you can have a decent time is either if you're actually good at being a killer, or 2, you're partying up with at least
your friends,
1 to 2 other friends to be playing with.
Communication,
and it got monotonous for me, and pretty much all the characters, it's just skins, really.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you get some perks once you level a certain character, but eventually, once you get high enough with that character, then that perk just becomes available to any of your other characters, and so at that point, it just becomes what perks you want to put together.
Yeah.
On whatever skin that you want. And to me, I've never been a huge horror movie fan anyways, so basically almost no boxes were ticked off for me on it.
It's crazy. I love horror movies, but I don't play a lot of horror games. It's never been my thing.
All right. I am going to give one positive, then I'm going to rip this game to shreds.
We are going to get so much hate for this one.
A lot of flame on this one.
So, I think that as far as the villain selection goes, they do go out there and get like a lot of really good like villains from different IPs. and you know they have great character models. They look great in game.
Yeah.
But as far as this game goes, I have never played a game that I get so bored of so quickly. It is ridiculous. Again, if I wanted to play Smash Keyboard Simulator, this is the one I'm going to play. Because if I want to go to a generator and tap spacebar, and then tap spacebar, and then tap spacebar, I would hope that maybe after I turn on my generator, I'm going to go to, you know, the cabin where I go and get light on, where I go find a key and then use the key to find a door that gives me the special tool that I can go do something. But no, what you do is you go to the next generator and you go to the next generator and then you just hope to fucking God that your teammates are also doing the same thing. Because if they're just standing there running in circles or ducking up and down, well, the killer's stabbing them and you're the last person there. What's left to do?
You're screwed.
Get fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you said, they brought in good IPs, like characters from IPs. Like when they brought in Nemesis, I was like, that's actually really cool. And then I saw him in game and I was like, that looks a little bit different than Nemesis, but you know, they tried. And it still wasn't enough to make me like the game.
And even in that aspect, like just because the IPs that they choose from are cool and the character models look good, the killers don't mean dog shit in this game. They don't, like, again, it's not like, oh, Michael Myers came up to me and stabbed me to death. No, he stabbed me and then put me on a meat hook, and I sat there for 15 minutes while I fucking jacked off and fucking waited for my teammates to come and grab me off the hook.
Pretty much. Pretty much. That's all. And it's just the constant same thing every game. Nothing changes.
It's the same thing every single level, every single fucking skin, every single player. I don't care if you bring in all these Attack on Titans and, you know, anime references and try to code it up with like oh, look, new promotional deal. It's the same game, same crap, same thing for the last 8 years, and it hasn't improved at all.
Not even a
this
little.
game belongs so far in the trash can that I step on it every morning when I get up. I love horror movies, but this game just pisses me off.
You know how we usually do the play it or throw it away thumbnails, how we have the trash can and like a couple of the game's logos there and heading.
Yeah.
This week I'm just gonna put Dead by Daylight by itself and say this game sucks, and then put the other games by.
I apologize if you are a streamer and this is your bread and butter for your viewership, but
It's
man,
not for us.
fuck this game.
It's
Like,
not for us, no.
I don't know how you guys can just sit there and play game after game of that. I'd lose my mind.
no thanks. All right, let's get me away from this before I punch a hole through my computer. All right. We've got Alien Isolation. Finally, a much better game.
It's a really good game. I have not finished this game yet because it terrifies the shit out of me. I love the Alien movies. I love all of them. I like except for the Alien vs Predator 2, like the second Alien vs Predator movie. Didn't like that one, but all the other Alien movies and Alien spin-offs and that, love them. And Alien vs Predator really immerses you in that world where like the aliens running around the events, and you've even got like the little motion detecting scanner, and you can see the little blips, and you see that blip coming towards you, and you can hear the vents, and like you hear a vent bust open, but it's dark and you can't see, and like you got to go hide in a locker, and you just see the alien walking around the room in front of you, and you're just like, please don't find me, please don't. It's intense. It really gets your blood pumping. I love the game. It's scary as fuck. You get like your flamethrower in different ways to deter the alien and trick it, and you know, kind of combat it. You can't kill it. You're pretty much avoiding it the entire game.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's one of those games that I love, but it's so hard for me to sit there and play it for a long span of time because I like my underwear, you know.
Clean, not brown.
Yeah, but I definitely play this one. I've went back and I play it every now and then, but it's not one of those games where I can sit there and just do a full playthrough because I will fucking lose my sanity. Terrified. It's terrifying. The jump scares, all that. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I play that one.
I think that this one I would play through it at least one time. After that, I do find that because it doesn't add too much in the way of replayability. Like once you've played through it, you've had your experience with it.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
fair.
but it is worth at least playing once for the factor alone that, like, again, like if you were, born some years ago, then you probably would remember Slender. And again, like
Yeah.
it wasn't like this
Yep.
grand game that you had to play over and over and over again, but you definitely had to play it at least that one time to get that big spook.
Yeah,
This game offers that same experience.
I'm sure we're going to be seeing Slender in one of these Player to Throw It
Oh,
Away
yeah.
this month.
Sometimes.
At least one of the iterations.
But yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah.
Alien Isolation brought, like, again, other tools that made the experience much more like the movies, and you also had, the unique factor of the AI in that game. Also, like, learning by what you're doing. So even though you're hiding in a spot, like if you stay in that spot and you run away and then the alien comes back, like you can't just go back to the same spot over and over and over again. Eventually,
if you keep hiding in lockers, it'll figure you out. And another cool aspect of the game, I don't know if people or fans or watch the Alien movies, but you actually play as Ripley's daughter in this game, which is really
that's cool.
It's really cool.
So there's some more lore to it.
One.
Yeah, there's a little bit of lore.
Spooky one.
Yeah, it's good.
I would give it a shot. I haven't played it. I'm not a huge horror game player myself, but I could see myself giving it a shot. I actually did play.
Month to try it.
I did play an Aliens game though. It was old though. It was Aliens 3 on the Sega Genesis, which is completely different aspect of that.
Yeah.
This one I could actually, where you actually have the experience, like you feel like you're actually in the movie.
Yeah,
I would give it a shot for that at the very least for that experience.
It really captures and you get that immersion of the movies.
Yeah.
Unlike any of the other Alien, like they released another Alien game. I forget what it was called. It came out after this one. It was like a
something.
Yeah, you were like it was like a multiplayer game, and you were just constantly just gunning down aliens and going through levels. And I was like,
as if you were gonna do that in the movie. Get the fuck out of here.
How many times in the movies did that ever work?
Xenomorph eat your face.
Yeah, but yeah, Alien Isolation definitely worth a play.
All right. We'll move on. Next on our wheel. Tick, 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 tick. Right, we still got lots of games here, by the way, but this is one that's a little more recently I was about to say reviewed, but has been released. Poppy Playtime.
Poppy Playtime.
Poppy's Playtime.
Time Playtime.
I've seen gameplay of it, but I've never played it myself, and I don't know if I could play this one. This is a weird one.
It's
Give your thoughts. I'll wait.
are you talking about the first chapter, right?
First chapter.
Chapter 1.
I think
cool.
I think we'll include it as a series, except for Project Playtime. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. As a series, I mean, they only have the 2 chapters out right now, as of right now. As a series, it's interesting. I do like the fact that they kind of play on the. I mean, it gets dark though. Like if you actually pay attention to the flavor text and everything, it gets super dark. The very first chapter though is very short.
Yeah.
So I mean, in that terms, it's like, I mean, you can get through chapter 1 and chapter 2 in probably about 3 or 4 hours.
30 minutes,
and that's with taking your time. I think the first chapter you can get done like a half hour.
Oh, I can do it in about like 7 minutes.
Oh wow.
Yeah. We'll get to it. Don't worry.
But I mean, it's popular for a reason, though. It's popular for a reason.
Yeah.
The visuals are nice. The way that they build up to the jump scares are fun. Replayability is kind of non-existent, though. I would give it a shot. I would play it, but it's not like a thing that I'd go back to over and over again.
All right.
Yeah.
I think a lot of these horror games are like that. They,
Yeah.
it's an experience. You have it, and then there's no reason to ever do it again, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like that's how a lot of them are going to be.
I think I would give it a shot. I've watched people play it. I've never played it myself. It's interesting, and like you said, it does get dark. It's really dark. Like if you pay attention, like there's some
messed up stuff.
Yeah, it gets really.
Oh, buddy, I can't wait to tap into this one.
It gets weird. So I think I'd give it a shot. I'd give it a play.
So, I 100% approve. Give this one a play. If you haven't, played it, it will scare the shit out of you at certain points. Because, like Saw movies, you get that jump scare moment, right? But it's, again, the aesthetic of this game seems like it's supposed to be such a happy thing. And then like you said, Grease, like I'm really into certain titles that follow this kind of method, like this one or Five Nights at Freddy's, and like all of the lore is deeply hidden away, and you do have to do a little bit of replayability to find everything that you may have missed because you were too busy running away from the monster in the first place.
Yeah,
I think as far as like the popularity of this title has gone, it has led to there being more available for them, because chapter 1, like you said, is really short, but it was more or less just like a teaser for people to be like, okay, this is really cool. Then they had the ability to be like, okay, people like this. Let's go ahead and add on to it. Let's get suggestions. And because the YouTubers enjoyed it so much, now they have so much merchandise that kids have eaten it up, man.
Yeah.
I can't believe how many kids I know from like the ages of like 6 and up love this series. My kid is obsessed. I must have watched like 15 different game theory videos about this series now, so I know it inside and out. So the lore and like the manufacturing of this company and what they've done to make the toys and what has happened to the children. Oh my god.
Yeah.
You talk about it being dark. This is like up there in that Five Nights at Freddy's level of territory where I'm like, why do you let your children watch this? Also, I can't wait to play the next chapter. It's a great time.
It's crazy how like a big YouTuber like maybe Markiplier or someone can play a game like that, and then all of a sudden it just blows up.
Yep.
Blows up.
Well, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, there were a couple of them that really helped blow the popularity up.
Lanky Box.
All right, we're gonna get on to the next one.
All right, we got Hello Neighbor, and another popular title. You go ahead.
Go ahead, Grease.
I'll start off on this one. I'm gonna throw it away. I'm gonna throw. I mean, it's a popular game. I get it a lot, but to me, as a parent, and the whole premise of the game where you're sneaking into your neighbor's house and digging around and everything, it's like, do you really want to be teaching your kids to break into your neighbor's house?
Probably not.
But beyond that, I feel like they kind of got a little weak with some of the stuff. I mean, the playability to it, I mean, it was, when it first came out, it was still buggy, and just, I mean, even the things that you needed to do to progress as well was kind of convoluted. You would spend it would take you longer to beat the game because you trying to figure out what you needed to get.
Right.
And it made it artificially hard by just not telling you what you needed.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan of that type of game where they make it artificially hard because they're like, oh, well, here's the game, you figure it out. Nothing else.
What's crazy is not many games do that these days. A lot of
them
don't hold your hand, tell you what to do step by step. So sometimes whenever a game comes out like that, I appreciate it. Brings me back to my roots, like playing a game on NES. Like, didn't tell you what to do. you put it in, you just go. No, the other thing that game had was adaptive AI. They would learn your patterns and what you were trying to do, and if you tried to do the same thing, it picked up on it. So you always had to be mixing up your strategy when you were going around. I'm still gonna throw it away. One, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the art style or just the game in general. I've never played it, but I've watched a person or two on Twitch play it here and there, but it just doesn't look like something I would enjoy, so I'm throwing it away.
I agree. I will also throw it out. I've got a few other points that kind of add on to what Grease was saying earlier. Again, with the issues that came out with it at start, because it was very unfinished. Like it didn't really even have an ending by the time that they released the game. Like this was something that they were still going to add in the way that Poppy Playtime does chapters. But they ended up like basically giving up on the title because they started working on a second title. And then they basically halted development on the second title because they started putting out TV shows and books. And they found more profitability off this. So they basically just stopped caring about the game altogether. And then as far as the first title goes, I mean, like the adaptive AI is a great idea on paper, but the way that the game plays itself is also very structured to be kind of like you're moving within an area of the house, but then you find a new area of the house, and you gotta get to the secondary area that was hidden in the house and climb up the roof of the house and then go back down to the other spot. And if you mess up somewhere in your gameplay because you figured out what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to like find another way around it. But there really isn't a way of doing that because again, like there's like certain set paths that you have to go to get certain items. So I mean, like you're kind of, like you said, it's artificially making it difficult for you in a way because, again, you know the path that you need to take, but if you've already done it once and you fucked up, then it makes it so much harder to be able to kind of do it. And if you're falling into the same suit of failure and the game's getting harder and harder and harder to get past these certain points, then there comes a point where you just don't want to play it anymore. You're not going to get the end story.
Yeah.
Not that there was one in the first place.
It's more frustrating than fun.
Yeah. I think that horror games specifically have a layer of hand-holding as a means to get you through the story, but the gameplay also has to fit that hand-holding so that way it works with it. But with Hello Neighbor, it feels like it's very much the opposite. Not only is your hand not being held, they're also smacking it whenever they get the chance.
Yep.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't think they really had much in terms of lore, really.
Not really, no. They kind of spat this one out and did what a lot of other developers in the same kind of field do. They put something out and then they wait for theorists and other people that are playing the game to come up with an idea that maybe they can then adapt into the story later on. But I mean, when you're selling a full-fledged game like that, it needs to have a little more up front. It's not like these other ones that came out with a free chapter and built upon or sold the game for $11.99. Like it's big difference when you're paying $40-$50 for a game and it doesn't finish, it doesn't work well, and it doesn't really have much playability to it. So.
And it's more frustrating than fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I think we all throw that one away.
Yes, sir. Oh man, we're going back to a flash in the past on this one. Holy moly. We've got Fester's Quest.
What is it?
Fester's Quest.
Okay, I never played this one.
For the NES.
For the NES.
I have played it. I own it still. It's going in the trash.
Oh, buddy.
It's going in the trash.
As soon as you said it was on the NES, I had a feeling.
Now, the thing, and I just said it with Hello Neighbor, where you had no idea whatsoever of what you're supposed to do in that game.
Yeah.
I tried playing that game so many times, had no idea what to do at all. Like you're running around and there's monsters and everything, and you're basically shocking them with your like this freaking magic scepter.
It's one thing for games nowadays to do that, but I'm not too shocked that's the way it was on the NES.
But like the whole premise of it is like you're going through the town and they don't tell you that you can go into the fucking buildings. And that's like, so I'm running around the street like, where am I supposed to? And you just run into these roadblocks and you need like this item. Like, where am I supposed to get this item? they don't even make it like, oh, hey, you can easily go into this building. No, they didn't have any of that. Like it's just frustration incarnate on this game.
Yeah.
That's like NES in general for the most part.
Yeah.
Like 90% of the games on the NES was frustration incarnate. You get all the way to the end of the game, get a game over, and have to start from the very beginning. And it's like, all right, there goes 3 hours of my life that I'm never getting back.
Or some games had no ending whatsoever, which I do believe in Fester's Quest, if you somehow got to the end, you just went right back to the start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of NES games did that. But I'm throwing it away too, just based off what Grease said and the fact that it's on NES. And if I'm going to play a horror game, man, you're not going to find a good one on the NES. If you guys down in chat, if you guys know of a good NES horror game, let us know, because I don't.
I don't think you can do a good horror game in 8-bit.
No, you can't pull that off.
I am 100% throwing this thing away. I'm skipping it across the river and hoping it doesn't come back. Man, this game is terrible. You were talking about it being a scepter, but like that's supposed to be a gun. It just kind of looks like it's the saxophone that shoots out those Kirby boomerangs. And like, I mean, it's Fester's Quest, right? So you think that it would be more of like a comedic thing, ties into the Addams Family. Man, it's just Fester running around the fucking road, fucking shooting stuff. You're lost. You have no idea what you're doing. There's really no comedic value to it. The character doesn't look like Fester whatsoever. Nope. Fucking, it's such a weird game. And then you get to a point like sometime towards like the middle of the game, and you're like finally thinking you've made room. And like you said, they like spit you out in the city, and then you're like, oh, I guess I'll go behind these bushes. There's nothing there. You go back around the street, and a magical monster appears, and it flies around, or it looks like again, nothing from this game ever came from the Addams Family show, movie, series. No. It's so backwards. I remember a couple, like maybe a month ago, we were talking about like Michael Jackson and how do games end up being adapted by an IP. Same scenario. Whoever got this game on their table and they're like, Fester's Quest. Going to be Uncle Fester. He runs around the city with a gun. Killing shit.
It'll be cool.
Aliens. I think that the final boss was a straight up alien. Like at first they made it look like they were demons or whatever, but then eventually it's like you because I've seen some videos, because I got to the point where like, you know what, screw it. Somebody has got to have figured it out and have recorded the whole thing. So I went and looked it up, and getting to the end, this boss is like, oh, it looks like a monster, and you take it down, and then it has a new stage, and it's straight up an alien. It's like, what?
Weird. We're chucking that one's going in the dumpster with the other games. We've been throwing a lot away this week. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Well, maybe this should be a lesson for those that make war games, that there's got to be some massive changes to the way you make horror games, especially those made back in the 80s and 90s, because god damn.
They were bad.
It was rough back then.
All right. This is a title, I believe, that came out last year. Again, kind of a different formula. Sons of the Forest.
I'll go ahead and start. I play this game. This game, this appeals to my crafting nature and exploration nature, and plus it throws in the horror on top of it. 100% play it, and it's a beautiful game, and I'm pretty sure it had multiplayer too.
It did have multiplayer.
So yeah, I play that one. That I've actually been wanting to play that.
I'm going to throw it away, but not because I think it's like a bad game or anything. It's just not the kind of game I would play. Again, this falls into the same territory as like DayZ, Rust.
Yeah.
I would even say Minecraft to some semblance. I just don't enjoy the idea of running around, chopping down wood, fucking carrying it back, chopping it up, making a bunch of fucking houses, and feeling like I really am doing something for not that much of a reason.
Craftopia survival.
Yeah, again, it's just not my style of game, but I do actually have an appreciation for the companion system in this game. They've built a really smart companion that you can get to tag along with you, and you set him up with like goals. It's not like other games where you get a companion and they just get stuck up your ass for half a game, like the dog from Fallout or something. You can like, I need you to chop the wood, and I need you to go, grab this material. And when I come back from doing my duties out in the woods, I better see some result here, or I'm gonna chop your legs off. Yeah, and it does a great job of it. I think like as far as that game goes in that style of genre, I think they have made like vast improvements over other titles like Rust or 7 Days to Die, things like that. I think they're a mile ahead, just not in my book.
It reminds me of like Stranded Deep, but in a horror sense, and it's in the forest.
Yeah. I own this game. I've played it. I would play it again. It, like Nick was saying, with the whole crafting ability, not only do you have to chop wood down and everything else, but you also have to wander around the island, find campsites, or go spelunking, essentially going into these caverns to find more materials, because you need to eat, and weather does affect things, and they have seasons, and so there are times where you get cold. They make you sleep or at least drink energy drinks.
Yeah.
So they also have a whole system of that as well. Like if you go too long without sleep, your health actually starts going down.
Yeah, it's got that whole survival element to it.
It's got the survival element
layered on top of the crafting, layered on top of the horror aspect. And
there's actually a storyline to it. There is an end, though they also give you the availability of, after you've beaten the storyline, to continue playing in that world if you want to.
Right.
I mean, and the mutants that you see, there's that horror aspect right there, which is holy crap, dude. Some of the stuff is like, whoa.
Yeah.
But yeah, I play it.
And last but not least, certainly but not least, we have the OG Resident Evil PS1.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start this one. I 100% play this. This is back when I was a kid. This was one of my favorite games for a long time. Recently, they made the remake for it. I absolutely adored the remake. Really captured the essence of what Resident Evil 2 story was. The whole game, every aspect of it, from the lab to the sewers to the police station, they captured it all. But like going back in the day and playing that, with the fixed camera angles, and it's rough, but man, I still love it. The remaster of the first Resident Evil, they kept the fixed camera angles, and that game was fun. And it really takes me back to like when I was a kid and I played the first two Resident Evils, and I loved Resident Evil, the first one. And when that dog jumped through the window at the very beginning of the game, scared the shit out of me as a kid. But Resident Evil 2 is where I really fell in love with the series. Resident Evil 2, so good. So good. I would go back and play that any day of the week.
I agree, man. Something about those fixed camera angles, man, is way more terrifying than a lot of first-person shooter titles that kind of feature like that background. The like idea of having that 45 angle where you're walking down a hallway, and then like you gotta like turn around and book it backwards, and you're like going through like a secondary back hallway, but you can see them cut the corner. It's very like reminiscent of an early horror movie from like the 80s. Yeah. Like again, the idea of Michael Myers when Laurie falls down the stairs and he's there at the top. You see her fall from the top of the stairs, but it cuts away from her falling still down the stairs, and he's just standing at the top. Same idea in this game when you're running away from like one of the infected, or if you're going up against like a boss, and you're like, what do I do? Like, what can I do? It's just I'm booking her, and then the resource management, having such limited ammunition in this game.
The original game, you had to find ink to save the game too, and there were only so many of them in the game. It wasn't like games nowadays where you could just save whenever you wanted.
Just again, layer upon layer of like adding something to the horror genre as far as games go that had not been done to that point, and they just ended up perfecting it game by game by game.
Yeah.
I think that to the point where after Code Veronica, when 4 came out, they ended up doing such a difference in the way that the games played
Came
that
more action based.
it's still a great series for what it is now, but those initial ones are again just something different about those ones.
Like
they
you
are
said,
beasts.
with the fixed camera, you'd be walking down a hallway and there'd be a turn to the left and a turn to the right. You could hear a zombie, but because of the fixed camera, you didn't know if he was on the right or the left. You just knew he was there, and you'd have to go down there and get into the intersection, and then the camera angle would change, and he could be right behind you or right in front of you. You had to react immediately. It was terrifying.
Yeah, they were able to set up the jump scares so much better
with the fixed camera.
With the fixed cameras, like they could just hit you with it so much easier that way, and you lose that with the modern games.
Mm-hmm.
And with
the
being
only
able
thing
to
that
move
was
around.
super scary about the remake was when Mr. X was chasing you. Other than that, there wasn't many jump scares in the new ones.
Well, that's unfortunate.
And the Mr. X chasing you was more of a thrill kind of thing more than it was a jump scare or anything like that. There was a certain aspect of anticipation and anxiety hearing his big footsteps going through the halls and hearing them getting louder as they're coming towards you. But like, I don't know. There was no, like Grease just said, the jump scares were just a different monster back then.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd play it. Back when it first came out, I'm like, yeah, no. but that's because I was not. I had a very overactive imagination, and so a lot of those games, like trying to play it, I would just psych myself out,
mess you up, not be able to sleep.
It would
for a
mess
week.
me, not be able to sleep. And so I'm just like, I can't. Nope, I'm not ready for this.
My dad,
I'd give it a shot.
My dad let me watch Freddy Krueger when I was like 5, and I didn't sleep for like a week and a half.
I think I played Resident Evil when I was like 6. So again, like that's not healthy for a child that age. But man, holy fuck! I can remember being like pretty young, playing Resident Evil for the first time, not really knowing what was going on because I'm too young. But like that dog moment, I like definitely smashed the fucking power button down, being like, nope.
Terrifying. Yeah, I think we that's just a classic.
It's great.
You don't play the original RE2. And anyone who's interested in the remake, I definitely recommend it too. They did a really, really beautiful job with the remake. It really immerses you and captures what the original had from a story point and just a scenario and the layout of the maps and like the buildings and the scenery. Like it really captured the game almost a 1-to-1 ratio. They kind of redid the laboratory a little bit. The laboratory is a little different from the OG game, but like I wouldn't say it was a bad version of the lab. I think it fit.
It's still good.
Yeah.
I think what's really scary is how many of you guys watch these videos, but you don't like, comment, and smash the subscribe button. Honestly, that's the scariest thing that has happened all week. So
it's
remember,
terrifying.
You should get down there.
Some nights we just sit in the VC and stare at the subscriber count and we watched a live count. I went down 1.
Oh no.
But yeah, that's gonna be it for the Halloween themed Play It or Throw It Away. We'll be doing another one next week. If you guys have any horror games you'd like to see us play or throw away, let us know. And like Mate said, hit that subscribe button so we know that you
love us too.
Yeah. Because we love playing these scary games, let me tell you. All right, guys. We were gonna talk about the Diablo 4 campfire chat, but I think we're gonna hold off. This week coming up, they're gonna be doing another little stream where they're gonna talk about the player balance changes on top of what they gave us this Friday. I think we're gonna wait and we're gonna save that all for next week's podcast. Hit it all in one go. We'll have Tuneable with us. He's also played Diablo So having one extra person to get their take on it should be a little bit more interesting. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to move right on to our game deals of the week. Game deals of the week. Anyone want to go first?
Sure. I have a banger this week, guys. 50% off, $29.99. Like a phoenix from the ashes, we have a game that came out very questionable at its first release, but it's found another life through its updates and amazing development since release. This week's deal belongs to No Man's Sky. For those finding enjoyment in Starfield, you should definitely give this game a consideration, as it truly has no limit for its levels of exploration. Endless galaxies, planets, life forms to discover, space exploration that requires no loading screen when you land or reach your next interesting point, full of action and space flights, fights, and resource researching. You'll be kept busy for not really a little while, but potentially forever if you enjoy this game, because you will end up having galaxy upon galaxy upon galaxy to go ahead and try to find. I would 100% give this one a play. Check out No Man's Sky on Steam.
And on stream. Catch Made on Rec.
Let's go.
Twitch.tv/Made on Rec. Go check him out. He probably won't be playing No Man's Sky, but you'll get to hear some Linkin Park or something. But yeah, that game is procedurally generated and like it's never ending. Like you can go in one direction, like you can just keep going in one direction, galaxy to galaxy to galaxy, and you'll just keep finding new planets that are all procedurally generated, and you can go way off course and just get lost in that game. It's a really good game. Definitely a steal. My game deal of the week is also going to be on Steam until October 10th. So you're going to want to get this by tomorrow, guys. You got one day. So if you're watching right now, you got today to get it. It's gone tomorrow. You can get Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, the collection, for 50% off right now. It's $19.99. And say you want the deluxe edition, it's only $24.99. It is also 50% off. You get the fully remastered Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 in one epic collection, rebuilt in HD. You can be Tony Hawk. You can be all the original pro roster from the original 2 games, including like Steve Caballero, Rodney Mullen, Bucky Lassick, Bob Burnquist, all of them. They're all in there. Plus, they got some new pros from like today's day and age. They've added some new people. You can listen to all the original soundtrack. Almost like 90% of it is there. I think there's a few songs that are missing, but they've also added some new songs. So the original soundtrack from the first 2 games is there. And honestly, probably 2 of the best soundtracks I've ever listened to. And it really got me into punk rock as a kid, like younger. I liked some punk rock, like Blink-182, but once I played the Tony Hawk games, like I went down a rabbit hole. I really, that's when I really fell in love. The music in these games is amazing, but it's an arcade style skating game. You do combos and you have goals in each level that you have to collect the letters of skate, do certain gaps, hit a certain score, by doing tricks and combos and stuff. Like tons of find the hidden tape. There's a lot to do in each level, and there's several levels. You'll be hitting insane trick combos. With the iconic handling of the Tony Hawk Pro Skater series. It's one of a kind. It little bit of an arcadey feel. You can do some crazy combos. You can put down some crazy lines. You can grind a rail, ollie on and off that rail, doing 16 different flips into different grinds, and then into a manual, up a half pipe, do a melon, revert into a manual, and then hit the rail again. Like you can do insane stuff. You can play all the original modes and go head to head with local 2-player modes. You can show off your like creativity. They had to create a park in Tony Hawk 2. You create your own parks, which was really fun. Plus the create a skater feature. You can actually go online and play multiplayer and compete against other players, which is cool. And there's even like a free skate mode online, so you can just go in and just free skate with your buddies if you want to. If you just want to hang out, and, the school. And just, whatever. Tony Hawk 1 and 2, it's definitely a nostalgic title for me, so I love it. I can't recommend it enough. And if you loved these games back in the day, this one's definitely worth picking up. 50% off right now. Just remember, guys, the sale ends tomorrow, so you got to get it today.
Plus, Jack Black is in it.
Yeah, Jack Black is in it. How did I leave that out?
Bro.
How did I leave that out?
All right, so my game deal of the week. I was originally going to be doing a sci-fi based one, but I just looked at it and that sale ends on the 9th, so it's going to be ending before this comes out. So I'm falling back on the one I was looking at previously. Now, if you are a fan of simulations and wanted to try your hand at home repair and home flipping, House Flipper is on sale, 90% off.
Oh, wow.
So a big old $2.49. You can get this game and you can you can start off buying this little shack. You clean it up, you knock a wall down, you put in some new plumbing, you make it look pretty, new layer of paint, you sell it to the next person, and you keep going. And as you go on, you can get larger houses. You can basically do the tearing the walls down quicker. You can put walls up quicker. As you increase your skills, eventually, once you get far enough and you have your investors backing you, you eventually get onto the moon too, guys.
Oh wow!
You can start selling houses on the moon,
and you can
it's
get
a little
this
out
game
there
for the price of a bottle of Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And it'll last longer.
So
I've always found those games interesting.
They can be a lot of fun, and there are a lot of DLCs out for it as well that give you other options of more playability. So if you wanted to try your hand at designing a house and changing a floor plan, but you don't have the actual physical skills, then give this thing a try. You can live vicariously through the game.
Oh yeah. I've never played House Flipper, but it does look like it would be a good time. Meticulous, but a good time. Anyone with OCD would probably love it.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I was thinking too. Tearing up the carpet, putting new fresh paint on the wall. People that love playing The Sims will probably enjoy playing this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But guys, we'll be back next week. There's going to be another Diablo 4 update coming. We're definitely going to be talking about that next week. We'll be doing another Play It or Throw It Away with some more horror games next week. We're going to be doing that all month. Guys, we can't ask you enough. Please go like and subscribe if you enjoy these podcasts. And don't forget to go follow us on Spotify. These are also on Spotify if you want to listen on the go while you're in the car or wherever. But that's going to be it for this week, guys. That's it for the Gamestate podcast. Next week, we will have Tuneablepower back with us. And as for me, Man I'm Wrecked, and Grease Monkey, we are out. Peace out, guys.
We'll see you on the next one.